Okay, I've got to go in line. You're ready to go. No, you are totally fine. No, I can get that done.
Wow, that's loud. Good afternoon and welcome to the 101st year of the Tyler Rotary Club. Thank you for coming today. It's a blessing to see this room so full and to have all of our guests and special guests and speaker today. I want you to please make sure first that your cell phones are off so we don't have to get anybody in trouble. Next, I want you to all next, David Jones has a quick announcement to make before he leads us in the pledge and the national anthem.
Thank you, President Walters. I've had the opportunity to be in two major meetings, one this morning, the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, and another one last week, honoring veterans. It is amazing to me how many people do not understand the American flag etiquette. And we're going to have our 100th anniversary and have a flag presentation, so we as a club need to get ready so we do it correctly. Anytime a flag is marched by, you salute the flag. And when the flag is presented, you salute the flag. And you stay saluting the flag until the flag is put in the station. Okay, and then the honor guard leaves. But once it goes in the ground, in the station, you don't have to cross your heart. But when they pick that flag back up to get in line, you salute it again until it's out past you. Okay? Just FYI, I think it just bugged the stuff out of me this morning. It was a great prayer breakfast, but folks just weren't paying attention. Okay? We don't want to do that in the Rotary Club. We want to do things correctly. So let's stand, please. The Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem. As we do in school, attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, sing and you see by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam. Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare of the first gleaming air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, David, and if you'll all remain standing now, Camry will lead our invocation.
Let us pray. O holy and eternal God, how can we give thanks to you for all the mercies that you have shown us? Every day we have profound reason to be grateful unto you. Help us to accept even better and to praise you for the many mercies you have shown us, so that we may live lives that are good and useful and even better appreciate your mercy and your love. It is in your most holy name that we pray, and let all the people say, Amen. You may be seated.
Well done, Alice.
Yeah, I guess I could preach for a living. We have several guests, and with us. The first one I want to call upon is Jim Vornberg. Would you stand and give us your classification, your club, where you're from, and any other factoids you'd like for us to know about you?
Well, my name is Jim Thornburg, and I was born in Texas, and I'm still back here, but I live in Colorado in the summertime, and that's what the club I was in. It's in the Wet Mountain Valley, and it faces the northern mountains and the San Francisco. There's 49 views from that. And it's up at about 14,000 feet, part of it. Anyway, we look across the valley from that, and we look out at all those peaks. It's a small club compared to this one. We have about 40 people at that club, and it's in a small town. It has about 1,000 people when everybody's home.
Thanks for looking us up and being with us today, Jim. Pamela has a guess.
I certainly do. My husband, Richard Lee Moore. I think most of you have met Richard. I'm so proud he's here today, even though it makes me a little bit nervous. My husband came today because he is a tremendous supporter of law enforcement. He was with the Department of Justice Federal Crime Division as a federal prosecutor for many, many decades, and he loves the law, and as do I. He certainly instilled that in me. But anyway, if you would help me welcome my husband, Richard.
Okay, Dylan, do you have a guess? Would you stand and introduce him?
This is Justin. I'll let you introduce yourself. Hi. Hope everyone's having a good week so far, but my name is Justin Hinesley. I met Dylan at the Tyler Professional Network, and he invited me here, but I'm with Arc Assurance Group. We're an independent agency, so y'all might have been familiar with this. Our former principal agent, which is now my father, John Hinesley. I'm happy to be here, and I hope to see y'all more often.
Great. Adam, you have a guess? Could you stand and introduce him?
Hope everybody's having a good day. My name is Jordan Brush. I'm a company here in town called Prime Park and Air Duct Cleaning. We do some water restoration too. Do some business with Air Adam. Pleasure being here first time, so just kind of interested to see what's going on. So thank you.
Great. Melissa Shanhouse, would you stand and introduce yourself? Great to have you with us. Have I overlooked any of the visiting Rotarians or any guests that have to be introduced? Yes, Fran? Yes, he was. I remember him well. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Your husband was quite amazing.
Lisa.
Oh, Lisa?
Lisa has a gift.
I have my cousin Monique, who's here. She is visiting from Texas. And I mean, sorry. We're trying to convince her husband to move to Texas. So, my cousin Monique has been in the real estate business for 27 years, and her husband is a retired DC homicide detective. And so we're trying to move them. So we're giving him East Texas, kind of tour this He loves you too, and, so we're looking for some property, so if anybody has any lots for sale, please get that.
All right, fantastic.
Awesome, welcome. Pamela can look you up. Absolutely. Okay, welcome, guests. It's so nice to have you all here today. This is a really special club. With, I guess, a little humor, say we are the Tyler Rotary Club, because this is our 101st year. Last year was our 100th year, and we'll be having a celebration coming up soon that you will all be invited to join us and have a wonderful time. I'll tell you about that a little bit later, so don't hold your breath, but it's coming. Okay, I want to thank Rachel Ebert and Adam Bailey for being the most gracious, precious greeters today. Michelle, sorry, I know better, I don't know why. Thank you for being such wonderful greeters today. It was a joy to walk in and see beautiful smiling faces. Yeah. Okay, that's a great opportunity for you to get to meet people and rejoice in their presence and get to know names so you don't mispronounce them and everything. So maybe I better sign up more. Okay. All right. Now then, for really the highlight of our meeting, other than our presenter, of course.
Yeah, that's
I want to
self-esteem
yeah,
there.
exactly. Okay. Anyway, I want to introduce a very famous person, Paul Gleiser. If you haven't heard him on the radio, you should have. He gives some wonderful
Hold on, just excuse me. Didn't used to have to do that. On the 7th of May, 1945, at 2:41 in the morning, German General Alfred Jodl surrendered on behalf of the German military to Allied forces in Reims, France. He would go on to be tried at Nuremberg for war crimes and was executed at Nuremberg on October 16th, 1946. The next day, 1945, and on the 8th of May, Allied forces formally accepted the unconditional surrender of the German government, marking the end of the war in Europe. Hundreds of thousands of German soldiers began attempting to flee to the west in order to avoid being captured by Soviet forces, instead of preferring to be captured by American forces. On the 9th of May, 1914, following a joint resolution of Congress from the previous day, which happened as a result of the efforts of a social activist named Anna Jarvis of West Virginia, President Woodrow Wilson signed a presidential proclamation declaring that the second Sunday of May every year would be celebrated in the United States as Mother's Day. The subsequent rapid commercialization of the holiday eventually led Jarvis in 1943 to organize efforts to rescind Mother's Day. On the 10th of May, 1865, after having been on the run, Confederate States President Jefferson Davis was captured by Northern forces near Danville, Virginia. He was charged with treason, but he was never tried. He was released on bail in May of 1867, with several wealthy Northerners putting up a portion of the money. On the 11th of May, 1934, we mark it this Tuesday, the result of a severe drought and overplowing of fields once covered in prairie grass, a mammoth dust storm swept over the Great Plains, carrying 350 million tons of topsoil as far east as 300 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean. The storm proved to be the genesis of what came to be called 1932. 2 months after he was kidnapped, the body of Charles Lindbergh Jr., the infant son of aviation hero Charles Lindbergh, was found less than a mile from the family's home. Though the Lindberghs paid $70,000 ransom, that's equal to $1.35 million today, it was determined that the baby had been killed the night of the kidnapping. Bruno Hauptmann would eventually be captured, tried, convicted, and executed for the crime in April of 1935. Birthdays in the coming weeks, starting today, rocker Bob Seger turned 76 today. Also having a birthday today, Willie Mays turns 90 today, baseball great. Yeah. On Sunday, Billy Joel will turn 72. And on Monday, Candace Bergen, the actress, will turn 75. And on Wednesday, Emilio Estevez will turn 59. And that's this week in history.
Thanks, Paul. That was wonderful. Today is the day that we get to celebrate our members' birthdays and anniversaries. So pay close attention. And somewhere up here, I think I've got all that, and I will read them. And if your name is called, would you please stand? Just give me a second. Okay, is it up here, Holly? No, Holly's not here. Hang on, bear with me. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna put that on hold a second, because I don't.
I didn't understand that.
Because I don't.
There you go, that's easy.
Yeah, if you're having a birthday this month, would you please stand up?
Don't answer.
All right. Bill Pascal, how old are you today? Or this
Today?
month?
22.
Here we go.
I look this way because I fell asleep on the beach.
Bill Pascal just turned 19. Okay, oh, that's the 19th. Okay. David Jones, everybody give him some applause, please. And April.
I'm hurt. May 26th.
May 26th, you didn't make the list. I'm so sorry. How did that happen? Okay, now then, anniversaries. Hang on just a second. We're getting there. Anniversaries. Lisa Chatterton, are you here today? No. 3 years. Holly Hendricks, 3 years. Bill Pascal, double duty, 3 years. Jim Perkins, I think that says 9 years. Mary Birch, a lot. 10 years. That's a decade. Good girl. Bill McGahey, 2 years. Holly Lewis, 18 years. Wow. Now, join me. Let's sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Rotarians. Happy birthday to you and many more. It's great to have a birthday and live another year, isn't it? Okay, here we go. June the 5th. Who knows what's happening? Raise your hand. Woohoo! We're going to celebrate our 100 year on June the 5th, 5:30. And if you're not here, you're going to be so sorry, because it's going to be one heck of a tremendous celebration. Dylan Merrick?
Will there be like some emails now, so I can remember that on my calendar?
Get your phone out right now, June the 5th, 5:30. Send it to Ashley, and you can't forget. But yes, there'll be a lot of stuff going out about it.
Or read your bulletin.
Yeah, or read your bulletin. You know, I've harped on this before. Read your bulletin. There's a lot of really great information in there. And also, our district governor, Jack Welke, sends out a bulletin. And it's always chock full of great information. So, you know, it doesn't take 3 minutes. So, you know, just go, I'm going to read this time, and if Pamela gives us a quiz, I'll know the answer. So read your bulletins. It does have important dates and things that I might forget to mention. So get them all on your calendar, because you don't want to miss anything. Before I go to the next thing, I do want to say that last Saturday morning at 7:30, I was at my office to meet Bill Pascal, who stood me up. And didn't let me know he wasn't coming. However, I'll forgive him because I'm that kind of person. However,
Oh, yeah.
Colby McElwee and Allison Cambry were both present at our district training in Longview. Colby was gracious enough to chauffeur me, and we had a blast. It was very informational, but better than that, we got to see one of the only 150 given awards in Rotary presented to one of our District 5830 members, and it is the Service Above Self Award, which is he's very special. He's been here before, and he'll be back again. You'll get a chance to meet, and hopefully he'll be at our centennial. Better be. But anyway, it was a great Saturday, a great way to, if you're going to have to forfeit a Saturday, it was a great way to forfeit a Saturday. Lots of great people there. Judge Ken Starr. Anybody ever heard of Judge Ken Starr?
No.
Well, have you heard of Monica Lewinsky? Okay, Judge Ken Starr is going to be here on June the 10th. Put it on your calendar right now because it will be a standing room only event. He's going to speak on his new book, Religious Liberty in Crisis, Exercising Your Faith in an Age of Uncertainty. It should be a very powerful hour. And a really good reason to join Rotary if you're not already a member. You can come as a guest, but how wonderful that my Rotary is going up now because it will be standing room only. It was last year when he came. Thanks to Dr. Edwards for getting him here. And the program next week, speaking of Dr. D.M. Edwards, is going to be Dr. D.M. Edwards, our 100th president, who can recite from his memory more things about this club than anyone can possibly imagine. I am constantly amazed at the information this man can hold in his brain. I swear he must have never had a drop of alcohol because he has all of his brain cells. It's really the board meetings because DM is at the board meetings, and I mean it's like having a living, breathing Google at the table. Because I mean, if we want to know something about this club, all we have to do is ask him, and he knows. He can give dates, years. I mean, it's just amazing. Anyway, we're honored to have D.M. Edwards in this club, and it's going to be great to hear his program next week. So don't miss it.
The first 25 presidents.
The first 25 presidents. Like, we've had 101 presidents. I'm 101st. He was 100. So okay, and now. Our absentee Bill Pascal, President-elect.
Whoa.
Come forward to introduce our program today.
All right, let me tell you what happened last week. No, it's not okay. Bert. I was going to get signed up to come on and do that deal Saturday. And I'm sitting there at my computer, and Kim comes in. She says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm getting ready to go to this deal tomorrow in Longview." She said, "You're not going to Longview tomorrow." And I was reminded very intensely that my niece was getting married Saturday night. And we had relatives flying in from all over, and we were going, and you are going to brunch with us at Keepersall Saturday morning. So you're not going to Longview. So that is it. She'll back me up. David was talking about flag etiquette earlier, and while I looked through my notes here and put my glasses on, I'm stalling here, but I found this barbecue joint in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and every noon, everybody stops. If you're a customer eating, you stop. If you're an employee, everybody stops. And they got some flat screens in there, and they put the picture of the American flag, and right there every day in that barbecue joint, they all stop, their hands on their heart, and they sing Star Spangled Banner.
That is awesome.
It's on my Facebook page if you want to look. I'm not lying.
Mission barbecue.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, our guest today is our Chief of Police, Jimmy Toller. He's a veteran of the Tyler PD. Over 20 years of service. As Chief, he commands a department comprised of 247 employees, of which 194 are sworn. An annual operating budget of $26 million. He began his career with the Tyler PD in December of 1993. During his years of service with the department, he started off as a patrol officer, a youth crimes investigator, crimes against children investigator, district investigator, and ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Chief of Police, Jimmy Toller.
All right, then.
Sorry.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. You know, it's been a year. I think we've, like everyone else, that kind of wonders what's going on. And law enforcement and police has been a huge topic of conversations, probably for several years now, but especially the last year. You're seeing it going on in the legislature right now, and the conversations that go on every day with different police reforms, recruiting, staffing, crime. If it's not the leading story on the news every night, I don't know what it is. Just to give you a little bit of history, we have swelled. We're at 200 officers. We have hit that 200 mark for the city of Tyler. The support of our city council and our city manager and mayor, when it was Martin Hines and now Don Warren, have given us those officers over the last 18 months. They've added 4 that we added just through our normal budget process as we continue to grow public safety with fire also. But we got 2 more through a grant, through the Cox grant.
We have a lot of really old partners.
Oh, okay. But we have grown to 200 officers, 4 that the city council then gave us and the mayor, and then also 2 we got through a Cox grant as we continue moving forward. We are 250 or 248 total employees. In addition to the police department, I also supervise code enforcement and also supervise animal services. So when you figure the whole thing out, I have the privilege of supervising about 275 people for the city of Tyler, and we're about an 800-person city on employees. Our department is organized into 3 branches. You know, we have 3 assistant chiefs, and each one of them controls a different part of our department. Like every department in America, the largest one of those is the patrol division. By far, it's about 135 officers, 24/7 operations. Our primary function is above investigations, above everything else, is to come when you dial 911 and get there when you call for service, and that's what we're going to do. We have investigative services that oversees persons crimes, property crimes, youth crimes, task force operations, and we'll talk about some of those. We also have community response, which Carrie Long is our community response officer for this area, does a magnificent job, but they're assigned 8 of those. We have 1 assigned to each beat. I put some materials on your table there. There's 2 more people here than I anticipated, so I may have to share a little bit, but we have 8 beats in the city of Tyler. 4 of them report to the Ferguson station at 711 West Ferguson. 4 of them in this other part of town, which is the Loop is the divider, Broadway's the center divider, report to the Faulkner Police Station, which opened up about 5 years ago down here. About a third of our operations are down there, including the full service property investigations, patrol operations, you name it, we do it. We also designed that facility for public meetings if somebody needed it. We actually utilized it last Saturday as a polling location because it's set up for police operations to be able to secure itself and open up the other part of the building for community events and stuff like that. One of the things that we talk about, and you see the stories on it every day, is that in the large metroplex, that every department's down 20% on staffing, 30% on staffing. You're seeing retirees happen. You're seeing these things go out. But we made a focus last year that we're not going to let it happen to us. It never stops. Our civil service tests are always there. We always got the hiring process. And as of today, with the retirement that we had last Friday, we have 1 vacancy at the Tyler Police Department. And that person's in the background process right now. We have people in training. A lot of people left law enforcement last year. We were a senior department for an average tenure of about 14 years at the police department, which is more than most. I talked to Mike Bishop in Longview. Their average is about 7 or 8 years on tenure. And they have a younger department than we do. It's just a cycle. It goes back and forth. But I have 13 in the academy at TJC right now. See Dr. Metke over here. We've got a partnership with them. We instruct a lot of the academy, but it's been a great partnership for us as we've gone on. 13 in there, some in field training, and we're in hiring a few right now. The one that we bring on there will bring us back to 100% staffing, which in America, for a police department right now to say it's at 100% staffing or almost at it is incredible. Our guys, our recruiters, our individuals doing the hiring, the people, they are getting people ready to go to buy the equipment for the academy. Have done an absolutely amazing job. Assistant Chief Billy Yates takes care of that for us, and he's continuing to do it. One of the factors, I will tell you that we're starting to see that movement
to Tyler. You know, this East Texas area is very attractive to people across the whole country. We just hired a young man that's got 7 years law enforcement. It came from a county just outside of Portland, Oregon. We have another one that came to us from San Jose, California. We got some others that we were looking at. We've had individuals come from Louisiana, everywhere else, because Tyler is very attractive to people. We pay very well. We take some of Dr. Metcalfe's employees every chance we get to drag them over. The city of Idaho takes very good care of us. We talked about that $28 million. It's closer to $28.5 million, and we'll probably exceed $29 million next year in reference to just operations of the police department. Some things going on, you know, everybody knows basically kind of what a police department does. We're patrolling, we're investigating, we do other things. There's been some initiatives over the last couple of years we want to talk about right now. With Ferguson and everything else happening there's a huge shift on traffic enforcement operations. It's not just the enforcement side, as you saw, hey, let's put motors out there, let's put cars out there. It's just ticket, ticket, ticket. It's just not the way it works anymore, because there's got to be a new focus. We're shifting that to traffic safety operations. All of our traffic enforcement guys that are assigned to the traffic unit are now becoming full accident investigators, reconstructionists. We're shifting them like the Metroplex did, where they're become the primary investigators on crashes. You get involved in a crash here in Tyler, the greater possibility is a motorcycle officer or a traffic enforcement officer is going to be there to work that crash. They become experts at it. They know the law. They enforce it all day, every day, and they get the practice for when they got to do the bigger investigation later. When we talk about the fatality crashes, the injury crashes, and also have crime scenes. Probably 2 months ago, you saw that the police department property at 711, we purchased 621, it's the old AT&T building next to us. We're in a full remodel of that building right now, through the roofs, all the way down to the walls, all the way down to the equipment going inside, as we're shifting it into crime scene operations, which that's another focus and priority of ours. We put digital forensics in 2 years ago, so I can tell you that there's no criminals in here, so I'll be good.
Don't be so sure.
I can tell you that with our digital forensics guys trained by the federal government and the stuff they gave us, the things that he can do nowadays to pull information from phones and tablets and computers will absolutely amaze you. The things that we can pull in from, if it's electronic, we can pull any piece of data from it that you'd ever imagine. And that's a big one for us. Well, crime scene's a big one for us also. It's a full investment. We'll put it in there. We're putting a lab in place that's going to do super glue and hydrant. There's a garage on the backside of it that's being re-outfitted right now. Send that to a fourth investigator pretty soon. So if we can clear more cases, it slows down cases that are going to occur in the future. Because as always, the vast majority of our crimes are committed by a small part of our population. Individuals, whether it's 10 or 20% of the population, commit 70 or 80% of the crimes. We are shifting right now from, we've had a bicycle team for a long time. It's got 6 plus a supervisor on it, and they want a flex team, almost like a priority. You'll see these heat maps in a minute. We can zone those down to quadrants where the crimes are actually occurring at, and flood individuals into those zones now, so we can push those primaries down to push those things. So instead of just primary beats, if we see spikes in crime within a few days, we can push 8 additional officers in that beat to suppress anything that's going on here. If we were having burglaries here at Holly Tree, or if we were having other violent crimes around Troop and the Loop, we could put those extra bodies in there very quickly. And I think that's going to be a big one for us. But another part of that we're moving forward with, and you'll see it, we've historically, the city of Tyler owns and operates the lake out there. We've historically kind of contracted or worked with the game wardens to make sure that the waters are taken care of. And we would go out there during certain events with patrol cars and stuff like that. In the next couple of months, we will put our first boat on that lake. It's marked with Tyler Police. We will have extra security at that lake during special events, during different activities, during issues, because historically people have realized that if I can get off the shore, I can do things that the police department couldn't enforce. Well, we will be up there very soon. It's probably going to be a surprise to some people that want to go out and dock in the middle of the lake and have big parties, but we're glad to join them. But I think that all the individuals who live across around the lake will be excited. They've always wanted that extra little bit of enforcement out there, and we'll see that very soon. The boat that we've obtained from the water department, which is a police boat, it will allow us, it's been outfitted and painted and everything right now to go to those markets. We're looking forward to the priority response team guys that will be bike certified, they'll be water certified. As we get all that done, we'll be the ones taking care of that. I talk about the priorities also, is it's not just crime-related priorities. The city of Tyler has priorities in itself. The parks are a big priority for us to make sure that we have the ability to put extra patrols in those parks, so we have a presence there. As you see legacy trails eventually be developed all the way to Rose Garden, we're going to need to have individuals on there that are on bicycles or some other piece of equipment that allows us to provide that security. And we're looking forward to that. So we'll do that. So if there's crisis going on, and we need to secure our waterways, if there's crisis going on, our critical infrastructure, the stuff we're dealing with there is a big part for us. But the parks are a priority for the city also, because we want people in the parks. We want them to get that exercise. We want them having fun and utilize them. There's been 3 huge park openings in the last couple of weeks, and we want to make sure everybody feels safe to go where he goes. So that's a big one for us. Last year, when everything started, it was just a normal year. We're getting ready to report crime numbers in March, April. We're going through our normal stuff. We're hiring. We're doing everything else we're doing. COVID hit, and I see George here with Med Health is for the first 90 days after COVID really started getting going, there were daily EOC operations going on. You saw a full shift of operations in the city of Tyler. There wasn't that concentration of doing self-initiated field activity. It was safety at this point, making sure we did everything we could. There were meetings between us and Med Health, fire department, city manager, the mayor, all the representatives from the hospitals. All these things came together, and they're still meeting. Last Thursday, another one next Thursday, as they go on, working with George and everybody to make sure that when the vaccination started, we could kind of get out there and help do some traffic control to let everybody try to get vaccinated. There were 900, 1,000 people lining up every week to get food, as we worked with the food bank to make sure that they did that. And it's been an amazing feat for those guys. Traffic guys are coming off the street instead of doing traffic enforcement. We're directing traffic at the food bank to make sure people's families are taken care of, getting the food that they need. Doing the same thing with vaccination right now, and we're excited about how that whole thing is shifting over. I provided you a crime numbers, a crime report there. Y'all kind of shared that a little bit. It's an internal document that we create every month that we see the trends and the focus and where we're going to go to from one operation to another. It helps us develop those priority response zones. And I will tell you, the zone that we're looking at right now, as we go through that document, the priority response zone right now goes from 4th Street to Front Street, goes from Vine Street to Broadway. That's where we're flooding all the individuals. As we go through it, you look at where the crimes are occurring by population and everything else. That's still the target zone where the vast majority of violent crime and property crimes happen. The secondary priority zone that we're looking at right now and actually working is Troop Highway. As we go from Golden Road downward, the hotels and stuff over there, the other activities are happening with the bars and the clubs. We're seeing an increase in violence down there. Those are the 2 priority zones that our priority response team guys are focusing on right now, and it's having an effect. And I will tell you, there's been a lot of arrests. There's been a lot of enforcement activity in those zones. The individuals that are on that team are very, aggressive when it comes to self-initiated field activity. And historically, hotels and areas like that, they draw a lot of issues associated with whether you're talking prostitution, drugs, you're talking human trafficking, other stuff like that we see here. You don't ever want to say that those things happen in Tyler, Texas, but they do, and we deal with it. So the one, you'll see that there's some numbers up top as we compare month over month. What was it like from February to March? What was it like from March to March this year to last year? And we can see those trends. We track these out on a monthly basis. We track them on a quarterly, a yearly, and then we go all the way back to 1993, 94. We look at these numbers. We look at them now and we say, okay, Tyler had a really, really high crime rate year. We're thinking, okay, there were 7 homicides last year. I can tell you that in 1993, 94, it wasn't uncommon for us to have 17, 18, 19, 20, 23 homicides. Those things were common back then. as we see it. I will tell you that it looks like that we see a lot more crime nowadays, but the numbers are significantly lower than they were. A lot of it having to do with federal prosecution of drug crimes and stuff, and state prosecutions. All those things came into play today. The difference today is that you guys have a lot more access to information than we had before. In the 1990s, you probably never heard about it unless you saw it on cable. Should be proud of Tyler. He's done a good job keeping those down. We look at crime numbers there. Overall, we're on a historic trend downward. Overall crime. There are certain areas that alarm us some. When you look at the violent crimes up there, we historically about 7 homicides a year. We still have the sexual assaults and stuff that are around 90 a year that are reported. Those are always going to be there. And I will tell you that everybody's like, well, they've gone up 5 or they've gone up 10. Probably only a very small number of those are still being reported. The vast majority of children, females don't report. I think that's been a historic trend forever. If we ever actually got the true numbers, they're probably 4, 5, 6 times that number. As we look at those. But I think that's where we're at. Robberies are there, they fluctuate. But the ones that are alarming to us right now, as we're seeing, and this is a nationwide trend, some worse than others. I saw in New York City that there were shootings around 160% year over year. Ours were about 25% last year. As individuals that used to get into an argument, individuals that used to disagree on something would push or shove, or somebody would punch somebody in the nose, and we'd feel that's also weapons nowadays, and they use them. It's an escalation of that violence that we're seeing. About a little over 20% increase in aggravated assaults last year. But overall crime was down about 3%. Some of that had to do with COVID. Some of it had to do with people that were inside. There are some maps in there that are hotspot maps that you can kind of see where those are happening at. It's pretty sporadic. You'll see the overlay of violent crime, the property crimes that are overlaid. That priority zone we talked about, forced increases in DWI. You saw decreases in intoxication. You saw decreases in all these fields because all the bars have never closed. So we take those into consideration with these numbers and look at multi 5, 6 year trends on these. We're seeing that spike come back now. I can tell you we're about, not just looking at the last year, we are seeing a massive increase in the number of DWI right now. People are getting out. People are taking advantage of that, but they're also getting in that situation. We're seeing we saw a pretty significant decrease in marijuana arrests and laws. That's what things take place. Pretty significant decrease in drug arrests last year, just before and out. The same thing. So you'll anticipate that to go forward this year. As all the people come back on the campuses, as all people go back to the schools, as everybody goes back to their jobs, we'll return to normal operations. I had to guess probably by midsummer to early or late summer, we'll be back to mostly full operations in the city of Tyler. It was unusual here, and George could attest, where we expected everything to shut down. Tyler was pretty much the only city that you could get groceries at or get the stuff you needed for the stores and stuff like that. We saw a couple months of decreased sales tax, which is kind of how we monitor how everybody's doing in coming in the city, and then it was back to normal. We did not see it. We were actually probably busier with people coming into Tyler, Texas, than other places. Other cities were absolutely shut down, not Tyler, Texas, which was a big one for us. We're at these numbers here as we look at them. If you factor out on thefts and stuff like that, the big box stores, the Walmarts, the Targets and those like that, you can see a trend on where the actual things happen. Make up a lot of thefts that occur there. And we're a big city, you know, if you think about it, we have 5 super Walmarts in this town. There's the Target. It takes up a lot of time, a lot of resources for the police department, but they also bring in a lot of benefits for the city itself. We're anticipating a pretty significant increase at the Children's Advocacy Center after everybody was held up. We have 2 investigators that are down there now. Probably in the future will be a 3rd investigator assigned at the Children's Advocacy Center. We have created new positions that monitor sex offender registration. We monitor, we increase people into persons crimes as necessary to do that. We're staying very busy. Right now, we have 4 investigators assigned forces. We have 2 at the FBI. One of them's a Joint Terrorism Task Force guy, and one of them's a Safe Streets guy. We have 1 at the DEA, and we have 1 U.S. Marshals Task Force. Probably one of the most successful task forces we're in right now. Arrests hundreds of individuals that come off the streets. So for the federal prosecutions and everything else that go along with them, and they do a fabulous job. You kind of wonder why we're part of a joint terrorism task force. Is it an issue that we deal with here? No, we talk about everything from domestic terrorism. It could be a complaint. We talk something suspicious. It could be a threat on school. It could be a threat to a hospital. It could be a threat to an infrastructure system. And Greg Gary is our guy. He does a fabulous job, and has had cases that are spanned over multi-states. So we're very proud of him. Andrew Mackey's the other one assigned to the FBI, is doing a great job and is concentrating on some larger cases that are multi-state, multi-jurisdictional, but every one of them affects Tyler, Texas right here at the force. I'm gonna leave some time here at the end and kind of told you where we're going. There's a huge push. In the last couple of years, the police department's taken the lead on the gambling issue we're dealing with, and all the robberies that are going on because of the little 8-liners that were showing up in the gas machines. The method we came here to deal with through the case law and everything else has spread out to other parts of Texas, and they're using the same strategy we do right now. Skimmers was a big one, and we're still dealing with those. Adam Colby and Jeff Roberts and his team developed a strategy on how to deal with skimmers that is still being taught by us to agencies from all over the nation. We taught a class last week, and we got another one next week. We assume and hope that the Fusion Center and the Intelligence Center for Skimmers will take place. It's in the legislature right now. Approved last time, the funding didn't come through with it. So this time we're hoping the legislature funds it, so we move forward with that one. It was a huge one for us. Right now we're looking forward to, it's digital forensics is a big one. We actually offer those services to not just Talent PD people, but we do for Glendale and Boulder and all the other individuals that don't have those capabilities, is to be there. And our goal at this point is to move to the next step on training, to bring, because we have great trainers here. We're part of the Texas Tactical Police Officers Association as a representative there. We're partnership with the TJC as we look forward to moving forward with that academy, but they're also looking at a public safety bachelor's degree that'll be put in place next month. Maybe you can pay on that one. The future is training on this one. We've made about $100,000 with the upgrades to the range out there to our training facilities. We're looking now at a virtual trainer, which is about $200 we actually immerse those police officers into these scenarios for high-risk things that are going on. They learn how to deal with people going through a crisis and all the other stuff, and they do it there in a classroom and actually are experiencing it live instead of having to just listen to people tell them how they should do it. Is a big one for us, and we're looking forward to that. But I want to leave some time I know everybody's got questions. You got to ask about burgers in your neighborhoods and everything else, and we're here to answer those questions.
How much crime do you think is attributable to gangs?
In this city, if I had to look at those numbers right there for aggravated assault and everything else, I'd put it at somewhere from 5 to 8% is where I would assume it to be. And when we link, everybody thinks we're just talking about Bloods and Crips and other gangs that we deal with here in town, but gangs are bigger than that. It's organized crime. It's multi-group and multinational groups. The Skimmers were multinational groups from all around the world that were dealing with those things and stealing billions of dollars every year. We're seeing the same thing. I talked about it over here, I know, a while ago. One of the biggest things we're seeing is Dallas experience, Houston's experience it, we've experienced it here. You don't hear about it enough. Or ATM thefts. There are individuals that have got so sophisticated, they can take an ATM door off and walk away with the cash boxes out of it in a matter of minutes. And they're having hundreds of these all over the country. So we're working on those now. You just don't hear about it because you say there's been one in Tyler, but then there's been one in Kilgore, there's been one in Longview, there's been one in Marshall. When you cumulatively put them together, that's a huge problem. And when say there's been 100 of them, and they're walking away with $150,000 every time, that's how those things go on. So we're working on those, and we're taking the lead on those also doing that, yes.
What is the status of the immigration? That's a big issue right now, countrywide. What is the status here? Are you seeing a lot of that problem, or is that a problem, or what's going on?
No, here, we've experienced no change in what we've normally dealt with here. There were some programs that the sheriff had in place in the jail through that immigration program there, but we have the Rosedales, we have other areas that we deal with here, but I don't see any influx of individuals here above normal.
human trafficking.
But our human trafficking cases here, you're right, though, they come through, there's a transport from one location to another. The ones we really focus on here are really sex crimes, human trafficking, where individuals are bringing in young ladies, and I say young ladies, I'm talking, they could be anywhere from 13, 14, 15 years old that are runaways or something else going on, all the way up to prostitutes and prostitution that are in their 20s and 30s. They go to the hotels by the interstate. They go to the hotels at 69 North. They take them to other locations, and individuals take advantage of it. Very, very difficult crime to enforce because everything is gone electronic through dating apps and social media apps and all this other kind of stuff. You know, when I was over narcotics a long time ago, you could do undercover stings and stuff like that, and you take prostitutes up on the street. You deal with drug dealers on the street, and you can go up and buy a $20 rock for somebody of cocaine. It's not that way anymore. They deliver this stuff into people's houses through apps on your phone, and it's things that you have to deal with. Yes, sir.
Big complaint in the metros is that you can get a pizza delivered faster, much faster than you get a police officer to respond to a call. What is our response time and timer, and how do you do versus that standard?
No, three different deals. Are we talking about emergency response times? You say, hey, I dialed 911. There's somebody shooting at me right now within minutes. You know, our goal is to have all of them done on average when you talk about, and we're not talking about 100 of those a year, whether that way. The goal is 5 minutes to get there 5 minutes sooner. Sometimes we're there 30 seconds, sometimes it takes 6 minutes. So the average is 5. The second priority scale after that is 9 minutes to get there. And we're pretty good. I talked to a guy that came in to run our water department a couple of years ago. You see more cops in cars here with the ability we have in most places. But, you know, a lot of it's got to do with staffing. I see it's happening in Portland and Seattle, and it's happened here too. Whenever there's when several people stick out or something like that, that you don't have that resource available. When somebody's 30 or 40% down on staffing in some places, I've seen other areas with huge areas. It's easy for me to get in that situation. We're pretty good here. We're right at that 5 minute mark. And then I will tell you, like if you say courthouse shooting, you say other things like that, minutes, not seconds.
Very important question. Who manages your Facebook page? Because they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Hilarious.
That's Andy Erbaugh does that for us. Yeah. He's got a good sense of humor. You gotta watch him every now and then. Okay, come on back.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I did talk with the guy a lot here. They tell me that you're doing away with motorcycles.
Yes, sir. We have them now. There are only 5 left, and actually after this month to be 4. Our deal is really not a deal with just motorcycles because they're sharp looking, they look good, they're very active if you're using them for enforcement like that. Just really the philosophy of the department on that side of it. I don't know. God bless you for driving that thing up in Dallas, man. I don't know how you ever did it. I'm not a motorcycle rider, but I will tell you that there are situations where you can't ride. I don't know what the operations are, but here, if it rains, they come on a motorcycle. We put them in a car. If it's snowing or too cold, we put them in a car. So I assume that the operational time is about 65 to 70% of the time that they can actually function. We keep them during the daytime. We don't have nighttime hours on them. Our philosophy right now is that no, if we put you in an assigned car, it's a car you drive to work all the time. That you're functional and operational 100% of the time that you're working. That it gives you the ability to work intersections. Now, right now, it had historically has not been our deal that they couldn't work crashes and stuff because we didn't let them block cars and traffic and stuff like that. So that's kind of the focus we've got. There's always changes or adjustments that can be made, but the ones that have come off so far, they've just attritioned out that they wanted to come into a car, they wanted to come into it. Individuals that came onto the unit wanted to be in a car, and we had those available to them. But yes, sir, a lot of that has to do with towards everything else in this one.
Is there easy to figure out if there's a skimmer on, like if you're getting your gas or something, or if you're going to ATM, is there some kind of telltale sign that there's a skimmer there?
There's no easy way to figure out any scammer whatsoever. It is a joke around every now and then. If those guys would focus all that creative energy, they can conquer the world. Yeah. They are absolute electronic geniuses when it comes to those things. Look for the tape pieces on there to make sure they have those security deals. I will tell you, Walmart and Brookshire's and some of the other ones had these really advanced pumps put in there. If anybody tampers with it, opens it up, it's not supposed to open it up, they shut the pump down. That's probably the direction that everything's going. The older the pump, the more vulnerable they are. If they don't have the tapes and stuff on them, then you better really watch out.
Thanks.
Very good.
Jimmy, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. And as a token of our appreciation, we make a donation to the Literacy Council in your name. And we have a certificate for you that we hope you'll proudly display in the chief's office.
I sure will.
Okay, great. Thank you again. And now for the Ace of Diamonds. And I think we've got a pretty good pot today. Okay, JB3, give us the number.
Wow.
$3,215. The winner will get half of that pot. The other half, they will graciously donate back to the club. And so if you'll read the last 4 digits of the card, the cards.
5.
5 cards. Wow, 5 cards. The odds are good.
We got a lot of cards.
I know. Was like 200-something. Yeah.
Make one person happy and 30 people mad.
Yeah.
Last 4 digits are 3139.
3139.
This thing's rigged.
Adam Bailey! Woo-hoo! Come on down!
Whoa. Four cards.
Oh my gosh, we're getting a totaler for your presentation today. And guests, please feel welcome to come back anytime. It was an honor to have you here. If you'll all stand and join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is there at all concern? Third, will build goodwill and friendships.